What is up, my gods and goddesses, and welcome back to my channel. Hey guys, I know it has been a long time since I've been back on YouTube, but as you can see in the title of the video, what I am doing today for you guys is highly requested, so I decided to get on that right now and film it for you. So if you want to see how I block my brows for drag and doing a drag look, stay tuned. But first, let me go shave all this manliness off. And I am back, refreshed, changed into my painting shirt-ish or tank, cleaned up, shaven, and we are ready to rock and roll. All right, guys, let's get started. So a couple of things that you're going to need for this to block your brows is, of course, alcohol. You're gonna need some cotton swabs, and you're going to need Elmer's glue. If you like Elmer's glue, you use that. If you want to use spirit gum, wax, you can use whatever you're comfortable using, use it. Of course, the purple one is the one to go with covering your brows, because of course you can see what you're doing with it. Also, I use a spoon, the back of a spoon, because it is curved. Use anything that's flat that you want. Some people use spoolies. I don't like using spoolies. It doesn't always get the hairs laid down, especially with thicker brows for me. But I like to use a spoon because it is a curved piece of utensil, because your brows, of course, you're on bone structure and on bone, and that part of your bone isn't always straight. So using something curved for me works the best. And of course, to speed the process up, hair dryer. Highly recommend if you want to speed the process up, because otherwise you're going to be sitting there for about an hour or so covering your brows, because it is a process. Also, powders. I use two powders. I use like my color powder, setting powder, and then I'll use a translucent. This is the RCMA, one of my favorite powders, translucent powders, is the RCMA powder. And this is a powder from CXC Beauty. This is Andromeda. If you don't want to use such a dark color, you can use a banana powder if you would like to. The reason why I use two powders, one is I don't like putting so much product on my brows, so I don't color correct my brows. I don't use a cream. I'll use my setting powder because it already has that color in it, and then I'll use the translucent on top. You'll see in the process. So let's get these brows blocked and have some. So the first process, of course, is cleaning the brows with alcohol swabs. With alcohol swab. You can use alcohol wipes if you want. Usually I'll use a pad. I can't find my pad, so I'm using my cotton swabs. I'll put some alcohol on that. Get that nice and damp. And you really want to clean those brows before you lay any product on them. Otherwise, you're just laying dirt, and sometimes it won't stick. And you want to go against the hairs too, as well as in the direction of the hairs, so you get everything cleaned. And you'll lose some hairs. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, a little bit of dirtiness. You'll be surprised at how much your brows are dirty, especially doing makeup so much. You'll see how much you don't take off. But don't worry about losing hairs. Of course, they grow back. They will grow back. You will lose a few, So don't worry about that. So that process is done and it is clean. They are clean. Let that dry a little bit. Now we're gonna go in with our Elmer's glue stick right here. You can do whatever process you want to do. You don't have to do my technique. This is just my way of covering brows. I started doing drag makeup, oh my God, 2000 in the end of 2007 into 2008 with one of my longtime friends. He got me into doing it because he wanted me to try it. And of course, on a whim, I just did it, and he was shocked at how well I looked after I was done. So now I'm going to go in with the Elmer's glue stick, and actually, this is brand new. If you have a brand new glue stick, rub it on the back of your hand or whatnot you want to get it warm and get the product moving. You don't want to start with such a new base, so you want it to have a little warmth to it so everything sticks. And I do it every time, even if I haven't used it, especially if I haven't used it in a while, I'll warm it up. But go against the grain. Your very first layer, this, you want to be generous. So go crazy. Go absolutely crazy generous with putting this. And also another thing I forgot, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot it, to include, I use a tooth comb, which I'm trying to find. OMG. Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. I could not find the one I was using. It's probably in my bathroom. Didn't go looking there, but I have a new one. It just came out. So I have one of these. So I use the comb side of it. Now, ouch, that hurt. I'm trying to scoot back. For me, I like to start at the end first instead of the front of my brow. So I'll start at the tail, and I like to go up and push at an angle. I don't like going straight up on my brow because I'm not a fan of the texture that it leaves going straight up with the brow. So you can do however you want to do your brow. Some people like to go straight up. Some people actually go straight across with their brows. So that lays it in the direction that you want it to go. And then I'll go over a layer of how I laid it of glue. Then this process here, then I use my spoon, the back of my spoon, and I'll press and push up. And this lays the hairs against your skin. You don't have to use this. You can use, like I said, whatever you want to use. But the thing you want to do is press that against your skin so it lays flat. Now, another thing I have, and I forgot where I put it because I brought it. Oh, it is over there. Unprepared. Let me get it again. Is a rag. I have a rag and I have a spray bottle. I'll use that and I'll spray it with water. Of course, you can use alcohol, whatever you want. And I'll clean up the outer portion and underneath any excess glue, so you don't have any chunkiness to the outside of your, and that is the first step. So I'm gonna do the other side and I'll come back. All right, now I have both eyes down. Now I'm gonna use my hair dryer to speed up the process. And of course you want to do it on a cool setting. Then right before they're really dry, I want to press up, push up to get those hairs really down. And then I'll dry it the rest of the way. All right, now that that is done, that is technically, for me, that is the first layer. I like to do 4 layers. So now just do a second layer of glue, so you don't need this anymore, of course. And also another tip, after each time you do a layer, close your cap. Otherwise, you're drying out your glue stick faster. So each time, close it, and your glue stick will last a lot longer. So going in the second layer of glue in that direction. And the second layer also, you can be generous to it. Closing my cap. And I'm going to use the spoon again, making sure that those hairs are laid and slayed down. Go in with my rag, of course, get it wet again, and clean up. We're going to do this process 2 more times. The next layer, which is the third layer, so this is the second layer. The next layer, I do something different, and I learned this, of course, from the queen herself, Miss Raja. I mean, not Raja. Oops. Raven, Miss Makeup Queen herself, and I will show you that next. So I'm going to, all right, layer 2 is done, and now we're moving on to layer 3. Like I mentioned, not Rasha, Raven. This trick I learned from Raven, watching one of her videos of her doing her makeup. I think it was her first video doing her makeup on YouTube. So I'm doing 4 layers right now. Sometimes I'll do 5. So the 4th layer would be this process if I did 5 layers. So I'm just doing 4 layers. So the third process is going the opposite direction that your hairs are laid. And the reason for this right here is you're getting all of those little nooks. You're filling those little nooks that that happen when you go one direction. You'll get little, what you call holes in your brows. I just say nooks. The little nooks and crannies, as you would say. You're filling those when you go this direction, the opposite direction. So you will have a more smoother looking brow than what they call the oatmeal, the chunkiness. So I do that. I do not use the spoon anymore. So the spoon process is gone. So I'm gonna let this dry, and then we'll come back with layer number 4. All right, we're back. It is dried, layer number 3. Now we're going in with the final layer, going back in the direction, of course, that you laid your hairs, to make everything tight and right, like so. And then we're going to get to setting them. I know some people also, forgot to mention this, some people like to do like this the powder in between layers. I don't like to do that. I like to keep everything as minimal as possible and not build up so much on the brow, because you do create, of course, your body creates heat, and you're adding layer of glue, layer of powder, layer of glue, layer of powder, can't speak, a layer of powder. So you're packing on so much that your hairs start to like unwind from the glue and it starts to separate. That's another reason why a lot of people get like the chunky brows, is because of that. I used to do that when I first started, and I noticed that, and I'm like, there has got to be a different way than doing this. Sometimes it works for people. I'm not saying it's wrong, but for me, I don't like to do that. I do have thick brows. If you have thinner brows, of course, that will work perfectly. But as for thicker brows, too much can be too much. So let this dry, final layer. So right before it dries completely is when I like to go in with my color powder. So I'm gonna go in with Andromeda from CXC Beauty, which looks like this. It is my color setting powder, of course, on a beauty blender. Also, another thing, go in with your powder with a dry, not a wet, because you just put on glue. And water and glue, hello, do not mix. It is water soluble. So press in the color powder and really press it in to that brow. So this is the color blocking that I was talking about. Color correcting, blocking, whatever you want to call it. So press, and don't be afraid to really press in there. And then I go back in and let it fully dry. So fully dry, then I'll go in with my Artsy May color powder. On top of that powder, really press that in as well to just lock everything into place. Now, if you don't want to do the colored powder process, you don't have to. If you like color correcting, you can color correct. This is just my way. There are several ways you can do your brow coverage. This is just the way that I have found to work the best for moi. So I did that. Now, time to brush everything off of my skin. All right, guys, had to refresh. Sorry about that. But so the brows are covered. Slick back my hair a lot more. Put on a little bit of lip gloss because my lips, they were getting chappy. So this is the brow coverage. If you enjoy this, please subscribe down below, comment any questions you have. I will more than likely respond to them and give you any advice. Also follow my social media, also linked down below. I'll put everything in the description that you guys need, but stay tuned for part 2 where I'm going to actually cover my brow and show you how I do that. But if you don't want to watch that and you want to know how to cover your brows, still watch it for part 2. All right. Love you guys. Mwah.